Hey, today I'll be talking about episodes 5 through 7 of YanXi Palace. So Yingluo makes it out of Gao's palace unscathed, and the next morning she sets out to confront Linglong. Other than Zhang, she was the only one in the room that day she talked to Yu about the loquats, and thus is very obviously the blabbermouth. Yingluo force feeds her some old food and makes it very clear to her that if she ever crosses her again, the punishment won't be this light. I love that Yingluo is not interested in these insignificant squabbles. She doesn't want revenge, she just wants to make it clear to Linglong that she'd better leave her alone. Linglong though is one thick-headed girl and just will not get the message. All she learned from this is that she had better not get caught by Yingluo again. Also, what a drama queen. You almost had Yingluo killed, but you're crying that she's making you eat cold food? You're lucky it's something edible. You deserve rocks. One night, Yingluo sneaks out. Linglong notices, but rather than follow her, she wakes up another girl that's just as desperate to get her in trouble. Jinsho, the girl who Yingluo spilled water all over on night 1. Jinsho reports to Fang, who assumes she must be seeing her secret guard lover. She asks Linglong if she could identify the mystery guard she claimed to see with Yingluo that day, and Linglong is nervous about getting in trouble with Yingluo again, but in the end agrees to help. This trio is honestly just so pathetic. Imagine devoting this much of your short time on Earth to just being petty. They continue to spy on Yingluo and spot her very obviously handing something to Qingxi, who Linglong confirms is the guard she saw her with. Fu Heng also spots the interaction, but it turns out she just handed him a stone. Even Qingxi has no idea what she meant by it. 3 months pass and the trio are no closer to maligning Yingluo. But then, Yingluo begins to vomit during meals. She also seems to be gaining weight. What could this possibly mean? Yingluo has been so clever so far that I can't believe anyone would think she would be this careless, but Jinsho falls for it hook, line, and sinker. She reports to Fang, and Fang officially and publicly accuses Yingluo of committing the biggest taboo for a young woman, losing her chastity. Yingluo makes a big deal about being offended that she would sully her good name, and she asks the supervisor, Eunuch Wu, to be clear about what will happen to the accusers if they are found out to be lying.
宫里有宫里的规矩，空口白牙诬陷他人，一通乱棍，逐出紫禁城。
She's taken away and examined in a private room. She comes back and guess what, you nosy Nellies? She's not pregnant. It's simply bloating from indigestion. These two fall over themselves trying to blame each other. I was tricked by her story. No, I only did what she told me. It literally devolves into a catfight, which, come on ladies, you're better than this. Eunuch Wu leaves the punishment up to Yingluo and she requests that he does not let them off easy. Jinsho is caned and demoted, which worries me because it means we might see her again. Fang is caned and expelled from the palace, which is quite harsh because it's kind of like a dishonorable discharge. Leaving the palace is one thing, but this way, everyone is going to know that she was kicked out for some kind of misdeed, so they won't want to associate with her. Not to mention, she doesn't get her pension. Yingluo goes to see Fang and confront her about her sister's Laozi. Fang doesn't want to speak, but Yingluo is quite persuasive. Fang finally admits that she doesn't know what happened to Aman, she only has her items because she stole them after her death. Classy. She also tells her that if anyone knows what happened to her sister, it would be Zhang. Armed with this, Yingluo goes to see Zhang, who admits she knew and really liked her sister, and that seems to be why she's been treating Yingluo so well. After some further pressing, she tells her that her sister was caught after a night out, skirts in disarray. They asked if she was forced, but she insisted that it was her choice. She also would not identify the man. She was caned 50 times and expelled, and then, as the story goes, committed suicide. This is the official story, but Yingluo saw her body and knows that she was strangled by hand. Yingluo shows Zhang the pendant that she found among her sister's things. This mystery is just coming together in such an interesting way. On the topic of chastity, we come to Shu Guiren, who is desperately trying to lose hers. Though she's been in the palace for months at this point, the emperor hasn't visited her once. She tires of waiting and sets herself up on the emperor's path, singing a song she wrote, hoping to attract him. He sees right through her and tells her that since she likes to sing so much, she should do so all night. I love that the emperor is so good at handling the harem. We see Chun again, home on the night before her periodic checkup. She has her servant douse her in cold water so that when the doctor comes, she will be sick. The emperor goes to see her and they chat for a bit before she manages to shoo him away by bringing up some politics. It's not as if she doesn't know this, and she's clearly happy to see him go. The emperor is just as curious as I am about why she seems so intent on keeping him away. I'd guessed at first that this was some roundabout way of keeping the emperor thinking about her, but after years, that does not seem to be the case. So I guess she's just trying to keep herself out of trouble. The Empress's birthday is coming up, and Yingluo is selected as main seamstress. As usual, the other girls are jealous, but Yingluo is literally the best. When they accuse her of being prejudiced, Zhang literally challenges them. Does anyone think their skills are better than hers? No? Okay, then shut up and get back to work. The thread that Yingluo will be using is very valuable, so she's warned to be careful with it. It's called peacock thread, as it's made out of peacock feathers in a very time-consuming and expensive process. If something happens, even her death wouldn't be enough to pay for it. You can just hear the evil wheels in Linglong's head turning. Yingluo hears them too and is too scared to let the thread out of her sight. Worried about her getting enough rest, Jishang offers to watch it for her. Now, allow me a brief moment here to talk about Jishang because I think, and I might be wrong here, but I think most people like her. So maybe I'm in the minority, but I just so do not. She is dumb, like aggressively stupid, so much that it causes me physical pain. I think they should have made her like 12 or 13, as that would have made her more believable. To make her the same age as Linglong, Yingluo, and everyone else who pretty much act like young adults or at least teenagers, it just makes it all the more obvious that she's weirdly immature. I guess if you want to put it nicely, it's naivete, but honestly, she's so easily tricked. She's loyal to whoever says a nice word to her that day, and just I don't find it cute or endearing, so call me the Grinch, I guess. So anyway, Yingluo leaves Jishang with the thread, and I will blame that decision on lack of sleep and lack of options. While Yingluo is trying to have a quick dinner break, a fire breaks out in the dorms, and Jishang runs to see what's happening, leaving Yingluo's embroidery unattended.
Jishang, 你怎么在这儿?
They rush back and find that someone has ripped up her work and, of course, made off with the precious peacock thread. It's sabotage, no doubt about it, but there's no time for a whodunit, they need a solution. As Yingluo tries to find an alternative, Jishang follows her around crying. I get that we can't all be genius Yingluos, but rather than helping in any way, she just follows her around apologizing like, okay, I forgive you, can you go away now? There's work to do. We don't see what Yingluo does that night, but we see her leave that morning holding something, so at least she's got something prepared for the Empress's B-Day bash. The consorts begin presenting their presents to the Empress. Precious jade, tacky little tree, then Gao arrives. Gao is ridiculous. Who enters a palace like this? Her present for the Empress is a statuette of the goddess of childbearing.
臣妾年纪尚轻，这尊观音就应该送给最需要的人。
The insult is obvious and it's rude as hell, but the Empress has no choice but to accept it with a smile. Then, finally, it's Yingluo's turn. Gao realizes that the fool she thought she met played her for a fool instead. Yingluo presents the embroidery department's gift.
今年特意用了鹿尾绒毛搓成的丝线。
People who sew. Is this a thing? How in the world does this work? Isn't it like too short? She paints it as an effort to comply with the Empress's recent cost-cutting measures. Gold and silver are so extravagant after all. The Empress actually likes it and even rewards Yingluo for her outside-of-the-box thinking. But at the end of the day, the Empress finds Yingluo kneeling outside of her door.
为何你一个人还跪在店外?
Yingluo apologizes for lying, admitting the truth that she lost the precious thread and only came up with this to stay out of trouble. She even purposely waited until the Emperor's gift arrived before presenting hers, knowing that the Empress would be in a better mood after seeing her husband's present. Making me love her even more, the Empress says she knew she was lying, but she let her get away with it so as not to dampen the mood. She forgives her and tells her that her punishment is to come and make her more clothes. She's transferring her to her palace. That night, Yingluo catches Linglong trying to go through her things. Linglong gets away by crying and pretending she only wanted to see the gifts that the Empress gave her. When you argue and the other person cries, no matter what, you're now the bad guy. And then...
璎珞，算了吧，我觉得也许真的有什么误会呢。
Jishang, are you kidding me?
What the hell? Really, after all Yingluo's done for you, you should be on her side no matter what. But the very least you could do is keep your mouth shut and not defend her enemies. Spotting an opening, Linglong tries to befriend Jishang again. Jishang is dumb as a brick, so it only takes minutes to get into her good graces. Linglong tells her that she has hidden a present for her under a tree. Jishang finds it, but before she can open up the package, she's stopped by the guards. They open the package and find the stolen thread. Watching this scene was so painful. You just knew where it was going as soon as she said birthday gift, and there it is. And then, little Jishang is immediately caned to death. That's right, to death, just gone. I don't know if Linglong knew this is what would happen, but regardless, to pin this on this naive thing who has literally never said a cross word to you, Linglong. What makes it even worse is that even knowing it was her fault, she still makes use of her death by making a show of how sad she is, crying in front of everyone. How do you even do that? Yingluo stays strong and so is accused of not caring about Jishang as much as Linglong did. The way I could not hate these embroidery maids anymore. Linglong tries to weasel her way into Yingluo's good graces under the pretense of losing their mutual friend, but Yingluo isn't so easily fooled. She knows what kind of person would steal the thread, and it certainly wasn't Jishang. Zhang needs a seamstress to help with the emperor's clothes. This is a big opportunity and everyone wants to seize it. When it looks like the job will be given to Linglong, Yingluo challenges her to a competition to see who can do a better job. Linglong is good, but knows she will no doubt lose to Yingluo, so rather than compete fairly, she steals Yingluo's clothes and submits them as her own.
这压根儿就不是我做的那一件。
When Yingluo finds her clothes are missing, she makes Linglong swear in front of everyone that the clothes she submitted are truly hers.
我对天发誓，那件衣服就是我自己做的。
And with that, her fate is sealed. Linglong's clothes are brought to the emperor, and as he's putting them on, he's stabbed in the neck by a needle. A grievous offense.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
They send investigators to the embroidery department to capture the person responsible, Linglong. Linglong tries to blame Yingluo and even asks her to confess, which... You want me to confess? So that what, I can go to jail for you? What? Anyway, she's taken to prison. Her punishment is 80 canings and banishment, so again, I hope this means we won't see her again, but who knows. I'm so glad this wasn't the kind of revenge plot we had to wait 10 years for and bide our time before finally dealing the killing blow. I don't think I could have handled that. Linglong is just, wow. Like, all of this was so unnecessary. You needed a scapegoat, fine, but then not only do you not feel guilty, you then turn around and use it to your benefit. Do you have no soul? And remember, this didn't start from some kind of deep-seated generational feud or something. She's literally just jealous because Yingluo's better than her. That was her whole arc. I have to say, Jishang's death is the first time I took this drama really seriously. Literally right up until we saw her body, I was thinking, well, Yingluo's obviously gonna come in with some amazing argument and get Jishang off scot-free, and then bam, body. Really took me by surprise. I didn't like Jishang, but killing someone so young and innocent off so unceremoniously, that was a bold move. So now Yingluo is going off to the Empress's palace and she has no more ties to anyone. She can just focus on finding out what happened to her sister. Perfect timing too. Did you see Gao's eyes popping out of her head? There's literally no better place to be right now than under the protection of the Empress. And I am so glad to be away from the embroidery department. Seriously, every single one of these girls was a conniving, pot-stirring, sour, well, except Jishang. Rest in peace. Till next time, thanks for watching.